So in today's video, we are going to be recapping the Royals and the Cardinals series. Now, before we get into the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and let's jump right into the video. So this series was actually very short. This was actually only a one-game series because Game 2 that was supposed to be today, as I'm recording this, got postponed to May 2nd. So this series turned out to just be a single game in the I-70 series. But the game itself, it was a very good baseball game. I enjoyed the game thoroughly. And the Royals, again, are a very gritty team. That's my one takeaway from watching the Royals this season, at least to start this season. Obviously, winning some, low scoring baseball games to start the season. Obviously, the game 3 giving up 17 runs wasn't particularly good, but then you take that Monday game against the Guardians, and then you take game 1 and the only game of the Cardinals series. You look at this team, and I find them to be a very gritty baseball team, because you look at Daniel Lynch. He pitched 5 innings, gave up 6 runs, and struck out 7. He gave up those 6 runs. And yeah, it wasn't particularly good. And it seems like pitching, at least starting pitching for the Royals, has been a major issue the last 3 games. Zach Greinke, Brad Keller, they've had good outings, but you look at, Bubic, you look at Hernandez, and then you look at Lynch. They haven't all had particularly good outings, but there's always something good that you could at least take from the Hernandez and Lynch games. Because you look at Lynch's performance, I thought, in a game where he gave up 6 runs, I still thought he showed a lot of good stuff in that game. He was able to strike out 7 batters, which is nothing to gloss over. 5 innings, 7 batters struck out. That's a really good outing if we just look at that. And his ability to get a whole bunch of batters to two strike situations, it was good. Daniel Lynch's issue that entire game that he was pitching was finishing the at bats. Like, he gave up 2 home runs on 2 strike counts. So he was able to get the batters in situations that were favorable to him. I think it was a 3-2 count and a 1-2 count, but his inability to get the batters out on those pitches is what really kind of set him back for the game, because he showed a lot of great things in that game. Like Daniel Lynch, if you look at what he did in that game, he wasn't bad. It's just when his moments of not being good were some of the worst timing moments, like giving up back-to-back home runs, one to Albert Pujols, who himself had a great game, 3 of 4, home run, 3 hits. He had a great game going for him, but then giving up 3 home runs throughout that entire game. I believe one of them was a 3-run home run. So his inability to finish batters was really the biggest thing, because there was a time when I think it was his last inning pitching. It may have been the 5th inning, and I could be wrong, but it looked like he was about to get out of a jam. I think he had a runner on first and second. He had a good at-bat going. He was, I think, ahead in the count. He had 2 strikes. And then that's when the 3-run homer happened. And then that's when I was thinking, I was like, all right, Daniel Lynch, he's doing a great job of facing adversity. He's getting hitters into favorable counts. I thought he was doing a great job trying to avoid, trying to get out of the jam that he was in. He wasn't able to finish the batters, which, I think there's at least there's something that Daniel Lynch can build off of from this previous game. I don't think there's a lot to, it's worrying that, the inability to finish, but there's a lot that you can build off of, and he's got to limit the damage with the home runs. Like that was a big issue for Daniel Lynch in that game. Giving up 3 home runs wasn't particularly good, but then the bullpen came in. They pitched 4 innings of, no score baseball. They didn't give up a run. They definitely backed up Daniel Lynch, and they gave the offense a great chance to try to get back into the game. Because as I said, the first inning of this game wasn't particularly good for the Royals in game 1. They gave up 3 runs in the first inning on back-to-back home runs from Albert Pujols, getting that second homer. And, it didn't look good, but the bats came alive in the second inning. They were doing really good things. Salvi hit 2 home runs in the only game they played against the Cardinals. Michael A. Taylor was hitting home runs. The Royals offense was keeping themselves in this game, and they weren't letting the game get away from them. They really did a good job. They were down 3-0. This team is really good at fighting back. Yes, they've lost their last 2 games, but I think they're really good at getting themselves in positions to at least win in these games and stay in the games, which is really all you can ask for right now. Like, obviously we want our team to be better, but I think they're doing a good job of staying in their games and not letting the games get it completely away from them. They're really good at fighting. They were down 3-0 after the first inning, as I said. Then the top of the second, they came out, they were firing, the bats came alive, they kept the team in the game. They made some great, they doing great things on the bases and, you know, were able to tie the game. And then the bullpen came in, did its job, didn't allow a run, you know, kept the Cardinals at 6. The Royals, they score a run, I believe, in the 8th and the ninth inning. It looks like the Royals are trying to rally, trying to make something happen. And they weren't able to finish the job, but they are a team that are able to fight and stay in games, which is really all you can ask for offensively. I think offensively, the Bats, they did a great job against the Cardinals in the only game they played this series. And then, you know, as I mentioned, the game against the Guardians, to go down 4-1, able to tie the game, and still it felt like they were never really out of the game, even though, you know, I think it was the 8th inning against the Guardians, the game got to 10-5. The Royals, they were able to get it down to 10-7 in Monday's game, and it just feels like they're always able to give themselves a chance to stay in these games. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be better about this team. The starting pitching has to be better at not giving up so many runs, because they're putting the offense in a bind. It feels like every single game, it's like, well, you have to come back, you have to come back. And I don't think offensively, I don't know if the Royals have enough firepower. Like, I love all the guys on the Royals, but and I think they have abilities to score, but I don't think it's a team, and I don't think you can ask any team to consistently go out there and back up, you know, poor pitching. So the pitching staff, at least the last few games, the starting pitching has got to get a little bit better for the Royals. And I think if the starting pitching can just get a little bit better, I think offensively, the Royals have enough power in there that they can win them some games. Obviously, Salvy's bat came alive. Michael A. Taylor's bat came alive. You know, you can count on Witt, Benintendi to get on base all the time. You know, hopefully Bobby Witt Jr. can get things going and consistently get on base. You know, the Royals, once they get on base, they're a threat, but it feels like everybody to constantly steal bases. Like, that team is one, it's fun watching the Royals play, because it seems like they're a team that are always trying to steal as many bases as they can, take advantage of the situations that they're in. And I think offensively, they are a pretty solid team. It's just the starting pitching has been putting them in a bind for the few games that have started this year. But that was a really short series between the Cardinals and the Royals. Next up, they play the Detroit Tigers at home, back in Kauffman. Really excited to see what's going to go on there. Give me your thoughts down below of what you think of the Royals season to start, and I'll see you in the next one.